Welcome, luminous souls, to another episode of Sharing Awakenings. I'm your guest host, Hoot Maynard, as we have Kristen Harper today, sharing her story of awakening.
Activating healing energies and raising the collective consciousness through sharing your stories of spiritual awakening.
Today's special guest, Kristen Harper, shares how breaking the chains of addiction and false belief patterns will lead you to an awakening like never before.
Suddenly you can feel your feelings for the first time, right? You can actually feel for the first time. My God, what that experience is like.
In today's episode, Kristen will be sharing how prior programming sets the stage for the breakdown of the body.
My programming led me to a life of living in a trance. I was just robotic, and the sense of urgency was always there for me. I always had to push forward, do more, be more.
And number two, her amazing realization how the body can heal itself despite our culture's overwhelming push for synthetic medication.
And then meanwhile, I'm going to these doctors for therapy, and they're putting me on medications for anxiety and depression, and this isn't working, so we'll put you on this. And this isn't working, so we'll put you on this. And then you've got 4 side effects that you're gonna need another medication for on top of those. And so
This all sounds so familiar.
Yeah, and it's a roller coaster ride. I felt like I got to a point where it just felt like a lab rat.
How her 2 daughters' courage changed the fate of her addiction to alcohol.
My daughters were such, they had such amazing courage at their age to be able to share with me how they felt about my drinking.
What the recovery world taught her about group sharing and healing.
Thinking, I'm done, my life is over. Not having any idea that that was the beginning. That was the beginning of a new journey of awakening and joy and love and peace and harmony that I had never known. And it was in those rooms and it was in those places of sharing that as a group of people, we can heal one another in such a significant way.
From the power of conscious parenting, mindfulness meditation, and how it promotes healing for you and your children.
The oasis I was trying to create that for children. Go to your oasis, connect with nature, connect in a way that is only yours, that's special, that special place inside that is magical and beautiful, and it's yours. And it's your safe place, because sometimes kids just need a safe place to go. They need to feel safe.
Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you.
So excited to have you. So excited to be in this chair.
I get it.
As opposed to that chair.
I get it. I get it. Well, I'm excited to tell my story, so I'm excited to be in this chair today.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure our audience can't wait to hear it. Thank you for sharing your story, your powerful story. We're also excited to hear the host of Sharing Awakenings story, as we haven't heard that yet. So
Thank you so much. I'm in such gratitude right now for having a seat here and just being able to have this platform. This is amazing that we can offer this opportunity, not just to myself, but to so many people. It's incredible. It's incredible. So thank you.
True gift of healing and inspiration and transformation.
Yes, yes, it is. It is.
And speaking of healing and transformation, let's dig right in. What would you say is the catalyst for your spiritual awakening? Was it an event, or was it many things?
Yeah, I would say, and thank you again,
Thank you.
much gratitude. I would say I've always heard the voice of God since I was a child, and it was always more of a dictatorship growing up, and it wasn't really a relationship with a higher power or anything like that. But I always heard a voice. There's always something, especially in nature. Whenever I was out in nature, I was really able to connect with feeling that sense of belonging. Like I really belonged out in nature, like I was being heard, and there was just this gentleness out in nature. So we took a lot of time as kids to be outside. We were outside all the time, and If I wasn't outside, I felt pretty disconnected, and I still do to this day if I'm not in touch with nature. But I would say that the catalyst or the triggering event for me was the downfall of my addiction to alcohol. And this was about 9 years ago, January 12th, 2012 to be exact. And my daughters were they had such amazing courage at their age to be able to share with me how they felt about my drinking, which I didn't think was a problem at the time.
How long did you drink for?
Well, I would say I drank, it was very progressive. It was very progressive, and my mom died from alcoholism about 18 years ago. So I grew up with my dad and my brothers, and my mom was not able to care for us. It kind of was a traumatic upbringing from the age of birth to age 9 when she left. So it was pretty challenging.
That's a young age to leave family.
Yeah, it was. Wow. So there wasn't a whole lot of nurturing going on. My dad's a retired colonel, grew up with my brothers. I was the only girl in the family. So sometimes, yeah, I was raised by wolves. Sometimes I say I was, raised by wolves.
Testosterone everywhere.
Everywhere. So yeah, we had a lot of fun growing up, a lot of fun. But during those formative years, when the brain is forming and you're understanding your world through your senses, I took in a lot of trauma, I would say, and my body wasn't quite sure how to heal from that. And there's a lot of programming going on at that time. And throughout my lifetime, there was programming going on. But I really felt...
Programming by?
Programming.
Social programming?
Cultural, through my parents, programming through my parents, friends, religious, the religion center that we were part of.
So all the external influences.
External influences were shaping and molding me into this being that I thought I needed to be. I was just doing what I was told. I was basically conforming to a society and cultural beliefs that were instilled in these generations before and before and before. So it's no fault of anyone's, or there's no blame of any kind. People just do what they know. And I think that my programming led me to a life of living in a trance. I was just robotic, and the sense of urgency was always there for me. I always had to push forward, do more, be more. The idea of success, yes, and I know you know a lot about that too.
I thought a lot of the world can relate to that.
And the idea of more too, needing more. So yeah, I got my degree and then needed more. So I went and got a master's degree because that would be better, right? I'll be better then, and I will be better after I take these courses and do these classes. So for me growing up, it was a lot about education. For us, we were really pushed into, I was raised in Massachusetts, and education was just highly regarded in my family. And I knew at a very young age I'd be going to college. That was my trajectory. It wasn't really a choice. It was, this is what you will do. This is what everybody does. You can't live without that.
So no choice.
No choice.
It's all pressure.
No choice. It was instilled and infused into my body that this is what you will do, because you need to be somebody. You need to be independent, right? And you need to be able to take care of yourself, and you need to be able to push back and fight back. And all of these kind of philosophies that were instilled in me led to the breakdown of the body eventually. So alcohol was one way for me to soothe and comfort, right? Kind of numb out. So in the beginning, alcohol was just a social thing for me. I drank like everybody else. I mean, when you go to college, you're right? It just didn't seem like a problem. And at the time, everybody was drinking pretty much the same. But then it got to a point after my divorce where it became a need. It became an absolute need. And I didn't realize how much I was obsessing over this, but the whole day from morning until night, thinking about when the next drink's gonna come. When is the next drink gonna come? I need to calm down. I need to soothe. Nothing gave me that sense of relief like alcohol. Meanwhile, I'm going to these, right. And then meanwhile, I'm going to these doctors for therapy, and they're putting me on medications for anxiety and depression, and this isn't working, so we'll put you on this. And this isn't working, so we'll put you on this. And then you've got 4 side effects that you're gonna need another medication for on top of those. And so
this all sounds so familiar.
Yeah. And it's
wild.
It's a it's a roller coaster ride. I felt like I got to a point where it just felt like a lab rat. I didn't feel like a therapist was actually listening to me and knew my needs and was understanding who I am and trying to get to a holistic way of healing my body.
Yeah. It's wild to me how they're just so quick to, I don't know, it feels like they're not really, they're just talking to you and they're just looking for a medication to put a bandage on that. And then you're on your way.
Yeah.
Feed that machine.
Right, and the pharma industry. I basically was waking up after I put my drink down, but that moment where my daughter said to me, Mom, we don't like your drinking. Mom, this is hurting us. My world just fell apart. I looked into my daughter's eyes and I just saw myself sitting on that couch looking at my mother and thinking, I am doing the same damn thing to my kids that I said I would never do. I said I would never hurt them and I would never become like my mother. And then I had two beautiful human beings that I was raising. I was in the middle of a divorce and I was raising them by myself.
How old were they at this point?
They were 9 and 13. They were 9 and 13.
Young age to be dealing with an addiction like that.
Yeah, they were young.
And what, you were 9 when your mom left?
Right.
Because of the addiction?
Right, yeah, she left because of the addiction. My dad divorced her because of the addiction and it was unpleasant in the home. And they were married 14 years. They had a wonderful marriage and up until that point, my mom was in such denial of the disease. Sometimes it takes people and I understand. I understand addiction more so than anyone. I understand it. I get it. I fully get it. And that's why I was able to forgive her for not being present and not being there for me as a mother. She was there for me for whatever she was capable of being. And I have to honor that and I have to respect that. And I do. I really do. She did the best that she could. But me having that knowledge and knowing, I had a responsibility to look at these two girls and say, I need to break the chains here. Something's got to give. And I literally said to them, I absolutely need help at that point. I agreed. I gave up the battle. I gave the fight. The surrender came wholeheartedly. I was on my knees, just done. I was done. Fighting the world, fighting myself. The war with myself is what it was really all about. I was battling these thoughts in my mind, the stories I was telling myself, and that's when everything changed. That day, everything changed. I was able to wake up because once I put the drink down and I was able to go to AA and clear out my system and start clearing this channel, right? There's this channel inside of me, right? And suddenly you can hear the birds for the first time. Suddenly you can feel your feelings for the first time, right? You can actually feel for the first time. My God, what that experience is like. And it's overwhelming and powerful and beautiful in the beginning. It's a lot to take in. And a lot of things I regretted because I missed a lot. But it was all part of my journey. It was all part of the path. And realizing that this wasn't happening to me, it was happening for me. Happening for me, yeah.
So key.
Yeah.
Did you recognize that in the time? Or was it later in retrospect?
I would say in retrospect, because in the beginning, I remember going to my first AA meeting, putting my head down on the table and not lifting it up for the entire meeting.
Just the head down? Like
my
that?
Head was down on the table, just tears streaming down my face, thinking, I'm done, my life is over. Not having any idea that was the beginning. That was the beginning of a new journey of awakening and joy and love and peace and harmony that I had never known. And it was in those rooms and it was in those places of sharing that as a group of people, we can heal one another in such a significant way, right? We can.
The power of group healing.
The power of group healing is unbelievable because from that day on, I never saw a therapist again. I never went back to a therapist. I had been in therapy since I was 9 years old. 9 years old. My dad took us to therapy because my mom left.
Nice.
And never connected and never felt this healing because it was more talk therapy, and grateful for the opportunity to be able to share what was happening in my life. But the healing was not a soulful energy healing, a gut level healing that I needed in order to transform and change my life. And
So
my
you felt like
yeah.
alone before. Is it alone that you felt? And then what?
Yeah.
What's the dynamic of a group that helped with that healing?
Yeah, I didn't want anyone's help. I didn't want anyone to help me. I was independent. I was going to do this. I was not brought up that way. That's weakness.
We can all do it
right?
on our own.
Yeah.
We don't need help. Yeah.
I'm so strong, right?
Yeah.
And then this whole divorce and living by myself and raising 2 children and working full time and trying to manage life and the performance, trying to be performance based, and perfectionism kept coming up. In the old ways
And what were you doing as a career? Sorry.
So I was a school teacher for 14 years.
That takes a lot of energy too.
Yeah, it did. It did. But my heart was to help heal children. So I worked with children with learning disabilities, ADHD and anxiety and sensory processing disorders and cognitive disabilities. And I had about 5 students every year, kindergarten and first grade, these little guys. And that was another healing transformation that took place for me. It was towards the end of my teaching career when politics kind of took place, and it got to be very political, very top down. It wasn't about the children anymore. It wasn't about the children anymore. It was about technology and how much technology we can feed them and please the parents. So
sounds like the corporate disease.
Yes, talking about taking away their recess, talking about taking away their social time, which was what they needed the most. And I didn't feel like that was in alignment with who I was. So all these push and pull of old ways of being and new ways of coming into my new way of being it was pulling me out of the old paradigm and saying, this is no longer working for you. This is not going to help you anymore. This is making you sick, right? It's making you ill. Yeah. And my body was shutting down at that point too. My body was shutting down because I went off of medications that they were telling me to go off of, start this one. My body felt like fibromyalgia was coming into my body. And I went to go get tested for fibromyalgia and seeing what's wrong with me? What's wrong with Kristen? These stories of, there must be something innately wrong with me, right? Which is such a lie. That's not the truth. Yeah. That is not the truth. And I know that today through all of my learning experiences, through Agape Healing Center, the International Spiritual Center, through listening to Gaia and all their wonderful episodes that they have on the scientific changes and the scientific healing. I know today that the body heals itself. I know scientifically this body was designed and created to heal itself. Yes. It wasn't designed to be sick. I wasn't designed to be ill. I wasn't designed to be an alcoholic. This body can heal itself if I allow it. If I allow it. If I allow it. Boy, I'm on a path and journey now to release these medications. Not that I would suggest this to anyone without speaking to your doctor and going through a robust and careful, thoughtful process of your medications. But for me, this awakening, I want to be a clear channel. I want to be open. I want to be alive. Yes. And if I'm being numbed by other things, synthetic substances that pharma is telling me I have to have in order to live in that world, guess what? I don't want to be part of that. I want to live my own life.
I hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then finding out and realizing that I'm not alone. There are so many other people out there that are just like us. Like us. And they need their stories to be told. They need to share these things that we're sharing right now in order to connect and to be able to heal and connect, and to bring community together, Amen. Yes. Yes, we're no longer these independent, competitive environment the whole idea of Darwinism is now being rethought and changed.
Yes.
It is
the
not
Darwinism,
survival.
Only strong survive. Yeah.
Survival of the
Not the
fittest. That is
case.
not the truth.
Oh.
That is not the truth. And yeah, it's hard to hear sometimes that what we've learned, what we've been taught,
We learned in school all the way through.
yeah, may not actually be the truth of what's actually happening. And I'm willing to take a risk and heal my body and myself and make decisions for myself now that are helpful for my soul. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So.
And then that, well, I heard, just going back to, you went to AA, did you have any, aside from AA, did you go to rehab or anything, or did you have any other techniques that you used to help you through breaking the cycle?
Definitely. There was definitely a lot of healing modalities. AA is not the only way. NA is not the only way. There is not one way of healing. What's right for one person may not be right for another person. I went to AA meetings for 8 years, and it saved my life. And I also got into Buddhism. Buddhism was another calling in my life that just changed how I started to look inside. I really started looking in my heart. And refuge recovery was one method that was just a beautiful way of teaching me how to meditate and sit with myself.
Meditate.
Yeah, so meditation is huge, right? I always thought I couldn't meditate. I have ADHD, I have anxiety, depression, which is now being healed. I'm being healed through meditation, yoga,
What a gift.
Buddhism. The idea of suffering is a choice. We don't have to choose suffering if we choose not to. There are other choices when the channel's clear and we're open and we're available. Today I can make myself available. Meditation is non-negotiable.
Wow.
Yeah, meditation is non-negotiable for me.
I get that. That's
Yeah.
for me too.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable. It's the only thing.
Yes. So in AA,
Anything else fell.
or in the beginning
else
of in the beginning of recovery, I learned how to have a relationship with a higher power, something greater than myself, something outside of myself, which I call God, which was also universe, and it was also through nature. Pachamama, Mother Earth,
Yes, Gaia.
Gaia is so beautiful. I once had a practitioner tell me, a spiritual practitioner from Agape, who was wonderful and worked with me for a while on healing some of my childhood trauma. She told me that the gift that my mother gave me, because I always thought I was left behind or abandoned by my mother. And she said that the gift that my mother gave me was the gift of knowing Mother Earth. That I, as a young child, was able to go down to the brook every day and tap in and tune in with nature. The flowers that I picked every day and put them in these little Dixie cups for my mom or my dad or for neighbors, and just listening to the water and connecting with the willow tree. That whole experience of growing up and connecting with nature was a gift that I never would have had. I would never have connected that deeply to our earth. It's profound. It's profound. The love that I have for Mother Nature and Gaia is tenfold because she gives it back to me. And I know I can look back now and realize all the times as a child and throughout my life that she's been speaking to me and she's been loving me and comforting me and whispering to me, saying, it's okay, it's okay. And that's the nurturing that I thought I never had, that I thought I lost by not having the presence of a mother, what we call a mother figure. I always had that nurturing the whole time. So I really hold on to that, and I hold that dear to my heart, that connection with Mother Nature.
What a blessing.
What a
Nature
blessing.
is. It's accessible for everyone.
It is. It's for everyone. It is.
Just to think, like, it's right outside your door or anywhere.
Yeah.
And that creates such a sense of healing.
It's always welcoming.
Always welcoming.
Yeah, always welcoming, always inviting, and just gentle. I grew up with so much noise, if that makes any sense at all, just noise. And the silence that you can hear within yourself when you're out in nature is just a gift, and there's no words for it. You can't put words around the experience of being with nature and hearing the sounds of nature and smelling, tasting, touching, and really infusing yourself with nature. It's such a beautiful, beautiful experience. It's fulfilling. You know, the hole that was there that I fed with medications and alcohol and and shopping and all these other things.
All the stuff outside of us.
Right,
Yeah.
the external, never fixed, never helped, never was sufficient enough. And I found a way to awaken to the divine who
Sounds like
fills
a
me.
direct channel to Creator Source.
Yeah,
Through nature,
yeah,
through
yeah,
your own being.
yeah. And one thing that's really important for me is I really love to take this to children. I think that our children today,
They are the future of
They
our
are.
ancestry.
they are, and they are inundated with technology. They're inundated with noise, the chatter, and distraction. And if we can teach them to slow and be out in nature more, be outside more, and connect more. I just wrote a children's book that I'm getting published right
Awesome.
now. Yes.
Yes.
And
Share some.
it's wonderful, and it just teaches children about meditation. Awakening the Magic Kingdom Inside of Me is the title of
That's
the
the
book.
title. I love it.
Yes. So teaching children to go, it actually takes place with the memories I had as a child connecting with nature down at that brook. I remember clearly all of the beautiful oasis, the oasis that was, I was trying to create that for children. Go to your oasis, connect with nature, connect in a way that is only yours, that's special, that special place inside that is magical and beautiful, and it's yours. And it's your safe place, because sometimes kids just need a safe place to go. They need to feel safe with all these things happening around us, and the things they're hearing, the things they're exposed to these days can be really scary, and they can't process very easily. Their cognition is just not capable of processing certain things that they're exposed to today. Half the things that they're exposed to we don't even know about, we're not even aware of, because they have access to technology and things that we're not even clear about. So it can be a scary thing.
It can be. There's no like filter, no real way to
Yeah.
filter that out now. I mean,
Yeah. But if you teach a child to tap in to their true nature, if they know who they are and they have self-compassion, they have love and genuine love for themselves, that's what they're going to give out to the world. They will know who they are. And being taken away by ideas or concepts or pictures or things that they're exposed to, they'll know. They'll know what is in alignment with them and what is not in alignment with them. And all we can do is teach them that.
and
I think as
nurture
parents,
that.
we nurture
Embrace
that.
the engaging in nature and tapping in to their
vital.
inner light.
That's vital. It's vital. And as parents, we model that. We're modeling for our kids when we're on our phone and we're running around and we're,
They're way showers, so
right, we're modeling for
got to
them.
remember you're leading by example, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If parents could learn to meditate, and not in private, in a quiet place that's perfect, but in front of your children, turning off the TV or just sitting outside, they watch and they want to do what you're doing. And then to help them create a space of their own, a special place that they can call their mindfulness resort.
Their magical kingdom.
Their magical kingdom. Yeah, very good. Yeah, right? That would be
Yeah.
so great, helping them to create that.
So what a gift to like write that book and share that with other parents. Just a way to like start a conversation at least, and
Yeah.
a way to be a way shower.
Yeah.
And say,
Yeah.
hey, there's something going on in here we can all tap into.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And loving yourself is really important, and having compassion for yourself. It's one of the hardest things that I came into when I first started recovery, having compassion for myself and realizing that a thought is just a thought, and the stories I tell myself are not the truth of who I am. I really had to sit with that. And I'm learning now about emotional healing. Emotional healing has been a big thing for me lately. So Tara Brach is someone that I absolutely love, who has brought me through a lot of my emotional healing. She has a rain meditation. It's a metaphor, R-A-I-N, where you recognize what's happening in your body and you bring awareness to that. And then you go inside and you investigate what is happening here and find out where it's happening in your body. Where am I feeling this right now in my body? And then just nurturing that, just bringing some nurture. Okay, so if I have this feeling that's emotional and it's overwhelming and it's powerful, just investigate and put my hand on my heart and say, it's okay, dear one. You know, saying yes to every emotion doesn't mean that I'm allowing something to be right or wrong or bad or good. It's the allowing it to move through me, wash through me, not hold on into my heart and build the walls that I've been building. I told a sponsor, my very first sponsor, I said, I'm like a mule, you're gonna have to break me. And she just laughed so hard, she's like, what? I was like, you're gonna have to break this, because this is hard, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of us have become so hard. And in order
So rigid in our ways.
Yeah, rigid, and that just brings out so much anxiety and anger and controlling behaviors, and that's not who I am, and that's not who I was created to be.
So who is Kristen?
I am. We are. Yeah, I am a divine being. You know, I was just learning the other day that, you know, these hands are God's hands. This heart is God's heart. My breath is God's breath. My feet are God's feet. My eyes, I can see with God's eyes now. I thought God was this separate entity out there. You better, and you're not doing this right, and you're not doing that right, and just more of a judging God. And my whole world has changed because I've learned that God is within, with me, in me. I am. We are. We all are, right?
Yes,
it is not
we are.
this separate thing. Every cell in my body is created from the divine, just like every plant and tree and blade of grass. I'm no different than any animal, plant, or being on this earth. We are all connected.
Connected.
We're all connected, yes. And I think that's where my heart is today, is to bring this sharing to everyone, to show people how we are all connected, how we are all from the divine, how we are just so fully capable of loving and being with one another, not independent and not competitive, but to grow together and help one another in a community the way it was meant to be. What tribe are you from? What tribe do you want to belong to? Because you do belong. That's our minds telling us that we don't belong, that you are separate, that you are other, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we belong, and everyone belongs. We belong. We belong to the earth, and that's where it starts. It would be great to bring awareness around this beautiful idea of community and how we can connect and love and support one another.
How can we create more direct experiences for people to witness the divine?
In order to be tapped in and tuned in and really come into the feeling tones, I think that's what I'm hearing right now, is we need to come into the feeling tones of the way we were meant to be, of who we truly are. What would it feel like? What would it feel like to be truly healed? To have a body of complete holistic healing where you're not in pain, right? You're not suffering from cancer. You're not struggling with Parkinson's and fibro and all of these diseases, right? What would your life look like if you were able to heal your physical body, your mind, and your heart? What would your life be like if you were no longer in this mode of complaining and angry and I'm not able to heal myself? That's what I would tell myself. I can't heal. I'm sick. That's what my brain would tell me. There's something wrong with me. I'm separate. I'm other. And that just creates more separation, not only from people, but from myself and who I am. We can't open up those channels and be allowing and open if we are closed off from the sunlight of the Spirit. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling tones. I know that you and I talked about that at one point too,
Yeah.
is
In the feeling tones.
feeling, actually feeling what it would feel like to be healthy and whole. So when I wake up in the morning, I no longer say, oh shit, I'm going to have a migraine today. I hope I don't have a migraine headache today. Or I hope my neck doesn't hurt today. Gosh, I always get
Yeah.
neck pain. And
Yeah.
that type of speaking out to the universe was manifesting. I was
So it's in
manifesting.
the language.
Language is huge. Yeah. I didn't think it really made a difference. I thought, oh, well, I'm frustrated. I'm just going to complain about it. But I was manifesting these physical symptoms in my body. They say under every headache, there's a heartache. Because we're not processing through our bodies what is seeking to emerge. If your heart is desiring something, and we're not allowing it to be what
Not expressing.
Not expressing it,
Yeah.
yes. And when we hold on to that, the body keeps the score. The body keeps the score.
You depress.
Right?
Depression.
Yeah. And it does come
It's
out one
wild.
way or another. It will come out.
Sometimes the ways you don't want. It's having an awareness. Sounds like.
Yeah. So sideways, it'll come out whichever way, but and that's not who we are. That's just not who we are.
What would you say is the mission behind Sharing Awakenings?
The mission of Sharing Awakenings is to bring real, raw stories from real people sharing from their heart of their spiritual awakenings and their realizations and waking up to a new way of being and living. We need to hear people's stories so we can connect and heal and give hope. When we see people,
Because there is hope.
because there is hope. When we can see another human being expressing their facial expressions, their body language, their emotions, if we can sense into that and feel into any kind of connection, it will bring us out of this isolation and separateness that has been killing us. It has been sabotaging and killing our culture and society until we're at the point now where now is the time. Now is the time for us to reconnect and to heal our hearts and heal each other, working together in a community and helping each other through our real stories.
And through those stories, like all the different voices, like a way for people to resonate. Like someone who's heard your story today will resonate with you, have been through it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And the more people we bring into the fold to share their stories authentically, wow. There's hope and there's healing, and that's what we're creating here. We want to share these stories. We want to hear people's stories to help create healing and hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What a connection, right?
What a connection.
What a connection. And there is nothing like it. I remember walking into the rooms of AA and feeling like I was home for the first time because someone heard my story and they told my story. I heard my story over and over from people. Just, whoa,
Not alone.
We're not alone. We're not alone in this.
How amazing to find that out when we're not alone. We're in this together. The connection that you were sharing about today.
Yeah.
The connection with everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the deepest healing.
Yeah.
Is connecting on that level with someone. There's that's where the healing begins. That's where it begins. I mean, and just planting those seeds of hope in someone's heart. We don't know if someone's ready to take their life. At one point, I was ready to take my life. And at the end of my alcoholism, when it was really progressing to a point of pulling the covers over my head saying, take me, I'm done with this world. Yeah, and that still small voice inside of me was saying, you're not done. You're not done here. You're not done here. And I'm
The
not
same
done with
message.
you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you're not, and I'm not done with you, Kristen. I'm not done with you, Kristen.
Something to this.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm hoping this story can help heal someone or reach somebody, anybody who might be going through this and feeling alone, that they're on their own, that there is hope here. And
There is hope.
And you are worth it, and your story matters, and you matter.
Everyone does matter. Everybody. Everything. Come into that realization. So what would you say is your biggest takeaway or realization from your experience or experiences?
That we all have the power to heal from inside. We all know the voice, our voice, the voice of the divine. We all have that power. We have all the answers. We have all the answers inside of us, ourselves. And we can look everywhere else. We can go everywhere else. We can take things, we can do things, but the answers are all inside of us. And we're capable and we're powerful.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you for sharing your story today. What a gift to share that.
Thank you. What a blessing.
And
What a blessing.
yes, you truly are blessing the world and your daughters. Like, what a gift they were for you and you are for them. For them at that young age to be able to see, recognize what was going on and actually say something. I mean, how hard is that for kids? I can't imagine to be like, Mom, you got a problem. I don't think most kids could do that.
No.
You must have raised them really well. Or
The love was always there. You know, I was always very, very loving to my kids, very loving, and tried to create a home of openness, not a dictatorship. It was not a dictatorship in my home. We were able to just have open discussions and talk about anything. And the more I went into isolation, it must have not been in alignment with my children. They must have felt this sense of something's not right here because Mom taught us this and we were raised this way, but now she's behaving in a way that is not in alignment with what we know. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that they knew this was not in alignment with their hearts and what they knew. So what an incredible blessing that they were able to share that with me and that I was able to listen. I was determined to break that chain. I was not going to repeat the past. Goodness needs to start somewhere. So, yeah.
What a blessing for your kids and for teaching other kids.
Yeah, I was determined to teach children. You know, I got certified as a mindfulness meditation specialist and for children, just for children, because of their anxiety. They were putting children on medications at age 5. I have parents come to me in my classroom and say, do you think my child should be on medication? We don't know what to do. The doctors are telling us to put him on medication for anxiety and depression. And I'm thinking to myself, he's 5, she's 5. There should be no anxiety and depression here.
What 5?
Right?
No, it's just
so
wild.
Yeah, my answer emphatically was no. You do not put your child on medication in my classroom. Let me know your child. Let me learn who they are first. And then if you want to do that later, that's fine, because then I can at least see whether or not we're losing the child.
I get that.
I've seen children be taken away from medication, like they just falling over in the classroom.
Wow.
I mean, really, I could tell you stories.
It's like the light goes out of their eyes, right?
Yeah. It was heartbreaking to watch that. And I knew there had to be another way. And that's why I got out of teaching. I wanted to teach mindfulness meditation. I started a group called Mindful Balance for kids.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so I would teach yoga and mindfulness for children. And they were eager, they were excited, they got it. They got it. And they were so excited to learn. Little
Kids are enlightened
sponges.
beings.
Yes. Yes. But planting those seeds in the children, planting those seeds of teaching them how to be mindful of their bodies and recognizing when things are not in sync or right. Teaching a child what hunger feels like and what sadness feels like, and to feel through that emotion instead of throwing themselves on the floor or getting out of control or throwing things, the fight or flight. You teach them that, guess what, you're supposed to be angry. You're supposed to have feelings. You're supposed to be sad. You're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to have joy. These are all things that you were gifted with. And allow this to go through you. And then they don't fear it. They don't fear, like as adults, we do everything to take pain away, right?
Yeah.
No pain, be pain-free. Look at the opioid epidemic. That's just one example of being pain-free. Exactly, you know all about that. That's why it's an epidemic. Obviously, it's a problem.
Yeah.
But teaching them that this pain that you're feeling is perfect. It's perfect. It's allowed. Allow it to go through you. And yes, and it will heal. It will heal. It's okay. And they're not afraid of it. They're braver than adults.
I can see that too.
Yes, yes. We have got to pay attention to our children. We have got to start paying attention to our children and giving them the tools that they need to tap into nature and to know who they truly are. And one of the biggest things with children too that I definitely wanted to emphasize is never squashing their creativity and their imagination. I'd love to design a school someday where it's just creative, imaginative play, where you're constantly creating and using your imagination, and you are out in nature, you are building, you are growing, you are just exploring, creating these like little inner explorers.
Yeah, that's the fun, is the daydreaming.
Yes, yes.
I still daydream.
And teaching them to question and ask questions and to, right? Ask questions. In school, we were taught not to ask questions. You're not supposed to ask questions. You're made fun of, or the teacher would embarrass you. And we were taught very young to do what we were told and be quiet about it. And it's wild. We need to teach the children not to conform to everything, but to be in love and respect. To be in love and respect our earth, respect our Mother Earth, love our Mother Earth, love each other, and mostly, most importantly, to love yourself first.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Words of wisdom and healing, hope. Kura, kura, kura.
Thank you for allowing me to be here and hosting this.
You're the host of the show.
The opportunity. This opportunity is just a miracle, and I'm just grateful that I could sit here and hopefully connect with someone today. Yeah.
Well, I know you have. Thank you. What a blessing. Gratitude, appreciation, light and love. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today. Remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons to receive more dynamic content and to join us on our journey of helping to raise the collective consciousness, one story of spiritual awakening at a time. Thank you.